All right. Time to get this party started. If I can find my webcam and turn that on. There we go. All right, I feel like it's been a solid minute since I've done any of these tower defense live streams, but if you're watching this at any point in time, I appreciate you hopping on, and I'm just going to continue this effort on my main project. This is my baby right now. Wrapped up that GDevelop Game Jam 5, and I guess tomorrow actually they're going to release the results of that. But that was a whole lot of fun. Made a chicken runner game. And yeah, just ready for a chill session here. Shouldn't be terribly long. And I just want to build in some towers here in the tower defense. So let me see. Since I last streamed, I did add... Let me pull up this Google Sheets. And what I have here, I've shown this before. These are just some ideas I had for my towers. I think that the last time I showed this, we didn't have much. But I did implement a sort of a flora or earth tower style tower. And this has the like a spike growth AoE damage area effect. Where it literally just is an area on the ground that damages the enemies as they walk over it. Spike growth. Secondly, it spawns plants that are the equivalent of like those sunflowers in Plants vs. Zombies. They spawn resources for you in the form of light. And then, and I swear I didn't copy that directly. It just turned into me copying that directly. So what I'm really excited about, and that's working just fine, I think. And I can show that right away. Actually, I need to get rid of this. I was testing something out with a camera on here, which I'll revisit later. Let me drag this stuff down here. It's experimental. Well, wherever you are, whenever you're watching this, I sure hope your week's been going well. I know it's crazy out there. Work can be a drag sometimes, but it's always nice to sit back and chill and play some games, make some games. It's what we do, who we are. Anyways, so for that Earth Tower, you select the green button, of course, and that's the tower head. But right now I have it set to automatically start spawning these guys, and these are resource generators. And so those are working as intended. Right now I have it capped out at like 4 of them. And you can see the light resources going up. And I think I disabled the spike growth. Let me pull that up as well so I can show you. Oops. Where are we here? Okay, yeah. So let me undisable this, enable it. All right, now when we click it, we'll get the little resource guys and the spikes. Or we're supposed to. Oh, man. It knows I'm trying to live stream, and it's going to make me work at this. All right, let's see. Oh, that was entirely the wrong section. Let me see. Yeah, so I added in this moon tower. I think I need to move this section up under the upper section here. Did not know that that changed. Where is it going? Okay, repeat for each instance of tower base. If the animation is the Earth Tower, oh, I see. It's kind of odd. Why did I do it this way? I'm just now realizing there's an inefficiency here. Because I'm checking repeating for each instance of the tower base. Which I don't need that twice. That's not helpful. Let me create a sub event up here and move this into that. Actually, here's the sub event. Okay, so if the tower base is tier 6, which is the Earth Tower, then I'm having it, according to this timer, spawn those resource guys, which we already saw. And then according to the spike growth delay timer, every half second, create an object spike. Let me try disabling this. I don't know why I have it twice. Okay. What do we get now? So now we're getting neither of these. So we know that this is checking out as false for these conditions. So Earth Tower num spawned is less than or equal to Earth Tower spawn max. So it does not like that, but it does like this copy down here. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that exactly. But and I'm not really trying to focus on the Earth Tower too much. Let me see if I can disable this and try it this other way. Negative. All right, then. Let me show you something else then, since this is not being very friendly with me right now. And I'm actually a little more excited about the way this turned out. The moon tower. So you click on the gray button, and here's what it's supposed to do. The first effect that I wanted it to have was to have objects orbiting the tower. In this case, I picked actual moons. And here's what that looks like. So they're going around, obviously. And they make a full ellipse around. And I don't even know why they're disappearing right here, but they perform the full ellipse. And I also found a pretty neat extension that shrinks the scale of objects as they decrease on the y-axis. So they appear to move further away in sort of a faux three-dimensional space. So they're larger when they're closer to us and smaller when they're further away as they travel on the ellipse. So it looks a little bit like an orbit. And then when they hit enemies, at the moment, it just destroys the enemy. Actually, I think at the moment it does 1 tick of damage per frame. So it's a lot of damage, but I figure this could be like sort of an OP type of tower early on that will sort of balance out later as the difficulty scales up. Something like that. So what I want to work on for the rest of the night is the fire tower. And so a couple of options to start out with there. And I promise I'll get back to the Earth Tower and get that up and running. I swear I had it working last night. I probably just need to drag and drop an event somewhere. But it's been a long day. So I'm just going to move forward, full speed ahead, and I'll show and tell later on. So for the fire tower, I can do a flame cone tonight. I could do meteors or both. I'm going to aim to start with the flame cone. And we'll see how far we get. So let's double check what the tower base for the fire tower looks like. I think it was the orange button. Was it? I guess it was. Let me double check. Yeah, I mean, I guess according to my color code, it is the orange button. I don't like that tower base. That was something I originally had. It was supposed to be just an upgraded version of the basic base, but an upgraded version of this one right here. So we've got, because red is blood. Oh, I also need to make sure I delete these moons after a moon tower is destroyed. Oh, I also added a destruct button. Let's get rid of that. And so I think one of the things I want to do is go ahead and upgrade the image for the flame tower base. So we've got, again, this one, the multis, that thing, and the purple's not great either. I like that dynamite. I just put that on there. Obviously doesn't really fit the theme, but let's see then. Let's pull up the software I've been using to make these bases, which is nothing fancy whatsoever, but it does the trick. Paint 3D. What I have here are some of the other versions. I don't think I've used this column yet, so that's certainly an option. And could drag that out. Oops, not that way. Could drag it out, make it look kind of neat. What else do we have? We've used these other ones. We've not used this thingy. And if I do a sequel to this game, I may consider doing actual 3D. Because if you haven't noticed, most of my assets are... Ooh, that doesn't scale well, does it? Never mind on that. Most of these assets are originally 3D that I'm just then taking sprites of. I figured maybe just let GDevelop get a little more mature on that side because I'd like to continue doing GDevelop. But, you know, they have 3D and they're going to continue to evolve and grow probably pretty quickly too. So I'm just hoping to let that take place, and then I'll probably really dive into that next. Let's see. Have not used this one either. So could do something like this, kind of like at a different, slightly different angle than some of the others. And of course, we have effects we could apply in GDevelop, but we can also apply some lighting effects here as well, such as the ambient light. Now, the background will come through as transparent, so we won't see that anymore, but it would still apply sort of a tint to the tower. So some of these cracks look kind of red now, which is kind of neat. And if I position the light here, then we get a contrast between that square top and the sides while still getting some of those red cracks there at the bottom. So as one of my sort of rules of thumb or whatever, I'm going to not spend too much time trying to perfect it and instead work on getting it into the game and making it functional. So I'm going to call that good enough. Get that moon out of there. In fact, I need to double check the scale that I need for this, the actual size. Let me pull up a folder. Actually, I can go to tower base. So the original one, if I open that up in Piscal, it is showing 96 by 96 for the whole frame. Close that out. So let me set this canvas to 96 by 96. Oops. That tip is coming over just a little bit. Okay. That will work. So export that, 96 by 96 with transparency, save. We'll call it, what have I been calling these things? I don't even know. Flame, tower, base. Let's add that in as an animation. Actually, let's replace... No, what do I want to do? I'll add it as a new animation. So I'll call that tower base tier 10. And that will be where I add the sprite. Right there. I don't think I need the collision mask to be different. I'll keep it the same. It's going to have like extra space here. But the idea is not really, just because I turned it a different angle, I'm not trying to make it like, so you can place more of those on the scene versus the other towers. So hopefully that works. Just double check my points. Yeah, same points. All right. Apply. And then what I'll do is go back into the logic. So when I click that orange button, that's where it will spawn this tower base. Gotta find where I did that. Here we go. Tier 10. All right. And okay, so let's just go ahead and test that. Okay, that's in there. It's still spawning this particular tower head, which I may change. I could go ahead and scale that down too, just so it's not so obnoxious. Let's see, what is that one? That is the tower head 3. Scale set to, let's say like 0.6, just so I can see more of the tower base. Let's see if that worked. Yeah, so it's smaller now, less obnoxious. And yeah, that'll work. I might create a different tower head altogether for this one. Let me try doing that. Duplicate it. I'll call it tower head 4 or tower head fire or something. And let's go ahead and make that glow effect red, sort of an orangey red. Apply. And then come back in here and actually call that tower head instead of the previous one. So tower head fire. Because the previous one will shoot a bunch of bullets. But I don't want this one. I want this one to fire a cone of flame. Because no one's ever seen that before. There we go. Got the red glow. The scale did not take because... Change the scale of tower head, fire. Oh, because I did not add this to the tower heads group. Let me do that. There it is. All right. Apply. Now that should work. It should scale down. Boom. All right. Now let me tell... The tower head fire should not be shooting bullets because I haven't written any logic. So let's double check that when enemies pass by, it is not in fact shooting anything. It's just going to sit there like a drained Capri Sun. One of these is not showing its animation. And that seems to be the large, slow enemy. What is going on there? I tell you, this is a night of bugs. But that's all right. Okay, so we're spawning enemies random in range 0 to 3. When 3 spawns, it is in fact the large. I don't really remember changing anything, although this event is open, like I changed something recently. So what in the world did I do? It should be creating I think I know. I know exactly. It is working. It's functioning properly. It's not the obvious thing. The obvious problem would have been that it's not spawning the enemies, but the answer is that I set this ground to a different layer. So let me move it back and try again. There we go. You know where that bubble dome came from? I didn't create it. Well, I did create it partially on stream here a while back, but it was originally part of my pixelart.com gallery. I had submitted an astronaut helmet to one of the daily challenges. So I just took that. I chopped off the bottom and I stuck it in the game as a temporary sort of shield bubble. So that's where that came from. It's an astronaut helmet, which is almost more of like a Sandy Cheeks helmet. And today's challenge was a dream bubble. So that's where this comes from. Anyways, back to the show. All right, flame cone. So what we need, I'm thinking a couple of ways we could go about this. We essentially need an area projected out in front of the tower. And the particles are easy, right? We have particle emitters for fire. That's easy peasy. What we need, though, is some sort of collision or collision-like check in that cone range. So how do I want to do that? And this is not something I actually premeditated on before the stream, so I'm going to figure it out here live. Let me look at some of the actions available to us and close this. And this would be where tower head 1, tower head 2. Let me close some of these. So what I need here is new event below, add a comment. And this will be tower head fire. Edit that. Let's make it look orange. And then let's see what we can do here for drawing. Do we have any sort of triangle? Okay, so we're going to add, I'm going to try doing a shape painter. Object name will be fire cone shape painter. Draw the shapes relative to the object position on the scene. Clear the rendered image between each frame. Let's start with that. Then go back to the actions here. We'll do draw, regular polygon thing. Okay, so number of sides of the polygon, minimum of 3. So we'll do 3 because it's a triangle. The X position will be, so this would be basically for each of the tower heads. So this would be, I'm not sure where the origin point of this triangle is going to be, but we're going to find out. Experimenting here with this. So we'll do tower head fire dot X. And then same thing with the Y. Just find out exactly where the spawn point of the shape is and how this is going to play out. The radius, I don't know. Let's say 100. And just 0 for the degrees. I'll probably need to do something like get the nearest enemy and get their angle relative to the tower head, something like that. But what happens if we don't do any condition? I'm not seeing anything. Okay, let's open up. Oh, I know. Well, I don't know, but let me try something. Let's do a for each tower head fire. Maybe it'll stop freaking out so much. Okay, still not seeing it. Okay. Let's start the debug GUI. Yeah, so obviously since there's no condition, it doesn't have a problem doing the activity. So let me figure out. Oops, go back down. All right, fill opacity is 150, so this should be visible. What if I don't clear the image? I don't think that's what I want, but let me play around with it. Okay, still nothing there. So obviously I need to do some homework on this part of it. But let's try a different approach for now. Let's just do a basic old triangle sprite. Ultimately, this will be transparent. We don't care what it looks like. Let's just start with, let's say, obviously the problem with using a sprite is it's going to be a rectangle, not a triangle. But let's just do this maybe as a placeholder for now. Just kind of get it going. As long as the fire fills the correct area, it's not really that much of a problem. So not super happy with taking this approach, but let's do it for now just to get something happening. Let's just grab some red. I mean, do we even need to draw the triangle on here? Probably not. Probably not, because there's no point in doing that. It wouldn't be accurate anyways. So let's just save this. Collision mask should be auto. Points. Yeah, that spawn point. I mean, like, yes, I could do a custom collision mask. I was trying to not use the event of is in collision with, because I know it's taxing on performance. So but I mean, I guess I could take that approach, right? So if I were to go back in here, let's edit this again. Actually, can't. I'll just delete that out. All right, let's edit a new one. Okay, 200 by 300. Start over, get the lines. Let's draw some kind of a triangle here. And oop, that is not good at all. What am I not doing right here? There we go. So if we're doing a flame cone, it would be something like this. That's not working very well with me. Let's see, I think there was a way to reduce snapping. What was it? I think it's called hand drawing it. No. Whatever. Whatever. It's been a long day. Probably say that in every stream. But yeah, let's fill that in. Doesn't matter too much. Just save it. And then the collision mask. I'll do a custom one, and I guess I'll use is in collision with. So I can delete one of these points. I think. Pretty ugly, but and then the points as well. So yeah, there we go. So the center, we'll just call it right about there. Don't think we'll need that too much. Could maybe do like if the enemies are in a certain distance to that point. But the origin is where we want it to kind of spawn out from. So apply, we'll call that, I'll just call it flame triangle. Okay, and then, so let's get rid of this. It's not working right now. Just add flame triangle, create at the tower head fire X, probably center X, I think. All right, and then same thing for the Y. There we go. Base layer is fine. I think I would probably need an object variable for the tower head. So let me do that. Add some sort of a Boolean to indicate whether or not it's got a flame cone. Variables, add variable. We'll say flame cone exists, Boolean. It'll start out as false. And then here we'll say object variable, Boolean for the tower head fire. Flame cone exists. If it is false, then create the triangle. And probably what I want to do is put that into a sub event. Okay, and then so let's just do that. And then afterward, we'll want to have it repositioned toward enemies if it works. All right, so we have a flame cone. That is actually about how we want it to spawn out. It looks so stupid. Oh my goodness. But it's not actually to be visible once we're done, so whatever. All right. I guess what we'll do is the inverse of this other one. So if it is true, if it has a flame cone, then we would say excuse me. Pick nearest object, enemies. Or triangle. So again, what I'm doing is trying to turn the triangle, the flame cone, toward the nearest enemy. Well, lots of options here. I'm trying to figure out the best one, because I think I need to get an angle from the enemies. So Well, let me double check something here. When in doubt, do a little research. Let's figure out how to get that angle between the flame cone and the enemy. And I'm literally just looking at the GDevelop forums here. So let's see, change enemy direction animation. Angle between two objects. This is from 2019. Yeah, so I know I could really just do some basic geometry here. So just trying to figure out the most efficient way to execute it. I mean, at least here in the documentation is a section that talks about the angle. That helps. So if you use trigonomic functions like sine or cosine, you need to express the angles in radians. 1 radian is equal to 180 over pi degrees, and 1 degree is equal to pi over 180 radians. And you can use 2 rad or 2 degree to convert between degrees and radians. All right. So an object can be instantly rotated with the angle action. The action needs an angle value. This value can be calculated with the expression object dot angle to object, object to face an object. Let's try that. So I'm going to start off with a basic rotation. It's saying that there's also a tween behavior, which can kind of smoothen a rotation effect. So let's do... rotate toward position. Its position parameters can be set to object.x. I mean, yeah, I guess that would work as well. So I guess we'll just do instant for now. It feels way too simple. I feel like there was something else I was trying to do with this. Let's test it out. Because it's just going to spit that out at the start. Let's see what happens. So yeah, it's not doing anything. You know what? I did not ever tell it to set the Boolean to true. So let's do that. Object variable, Boolean, flame cone exists. Set it to true, and then so it's doing some rotation stuff, but I need to anchor obviously the base of that triangle to the tower head. So let's see what we can do there. Would making it sticky help? Ooh, let's try that. Go to the tower head, behaviors. Okay, it is a sticker. And then go to the triangle. I should move that up. Okay, so let's make sure that that has the sticker behavior, and we'll give that a shot, see if that does what I'm hoping it does. Destroy when the object it's stuck on is destroyed. I need to apply that also to the moons, as we saw earlier, so... Although I don't want it to necessarily stick. Probably just link it. I'll link it later. All right, what we have now is sticker behavior. So let's go ahead and stick them. So triangle, stick to tower head fire. Okay, did not do what I was hoping it would do, so not at all. All right, let me double check something else then. Yeah, I know there's some sort of pin behavior or something. Right here, pin object to another. It's one thing I love about the GDevelop engine is you can always just pop open example games in the browser. So let's see how this works. Okay, so they're pinned to the parent and they'll move with it. And then it doesn't show it in the editor preview, but they do also rotate with it. So that's definitely what we want. It's draggable, of course. So then there we go. Yeah. That's exactly what we need. So what we have here is an initial angle of child, set to child.angle, change the variable distance to parent of the child. So I'm just going to shamelessly use this in my project. Thank you, GDevelop, whoever put that together. So close that. Let me create a few variables here for this. Flame triangle. This is the child. Initial angle. We'll add distance to parent. In this case, I'll probably say distance to tower head. And then angle to parent. As a number. Okay, I think that's all the variables. So let's go to the code, the codeless code. Because probably what's going to happen here is I'll need to rotate the tower head itself, just like they've been doing on the other tower head types. And then when it rotates, the cone will also rotate. So if I follow this logic here, that's what we would need to do. So it won't be based on this exactly, but probably would rotate the head itself. And then that should cause the triangle to rotate with it. So then change the variable initial angle, set it to that. And then let's copy that a couple of times. Let's do distance to the tower head and set that to tower head fire dot distance to flame triangle. Then let's change the angle to parent. Not sure why I used parent there instead of tower head. Set that to, and they did a conversion from, or rather 2 degrees. We'll see how this plays out. We might have to modify it a bit. There was a lot of, that was a lot of typity type typing. So obviously I made an error. Flame triangle. All right. So, let's add another event below, and then here we will put, or rather it's like triangle, put around tower head flame or fire. We'll say 0 distance, and then angle will be tower head fire dot angle plus flame triangle dot angle to parent. And then also change the angle of the flame triangle and set that to that. Oops. That. Let's see what happens. Okay, well, it's not, I mean, it's sort of there. Holy. It's more of a spinning blade than it is a flame cone. Let's try a condition here. Let's say if the tower head yeah, they make a good point here. We'll want to go ahead and link these as well. Link to the tower head fire. And so it is freaking out. Let me try rearranging some of these events. So Oh, well, here's one problem. Picking the enemies nearest to enemies, that doesn't make any sense. This should be tower head fire. No, that didn't make any sense whatsoever. And then that's not tower base, that's actually tower head fire as well. And there's some sort of optimization I can do here, but I'm gonna not worry about that at the moment. Okay, still getting a constant rotation. I need to figure out the check for if the tower head has rotated. And I'm thinking I could do that manually with some variables, but I'm curious to see if there's an actual built-in check. Let me try a manual thing first. I'm running short on time for the evening, but let's see what we can do here. So this variable will be previous angle as a number. And then whenever, let me think. So yeah, let's, now I'm curious about something else. I mean, I know that they had, in the example, they have these two actions together. So I'm sure that makes sense because it worked in the example. But I'm putting in a couple of checks over here, picking the enemy that's nearest to tower head fire X and Y. And then I'm rotating the tower head. So I'm curious to see if it'll stop once there are no enemies on the scene. Okay, it does at least stop. Okay, so I'm going to try setting the this variable to the latest tower head angle before it changes again. And then I guess I want to say if I mean, I don't think it's going to fix the sporadic movement, but I wanted to say if that variable has changed. So I don't think that'll change anything here, but we'll see. Yeah, it's still spinning around. But that should reinforce not moving if the tower head is not moved. Why is it moving so fast too? Okay, well, I'm going to just take a break. I'm going to step away from it, and but we've still made some progress, even though I'm not quite figuring it out. But what we have is the new flame tower base. So click on the orange button. Well, of course, it's covered up by the slice of pizza now. But right here, we have the new tower base. So it's looking pretty good. We have a triangle sprite with the collision mask on it. So that will indicate the area that will cause damage to the enemies when they walk through it. And the plan moving forward, of course, is to just add some fiery particles to that. And what those obviously look like are many of these fire options. So shouldn't be too hard to get the visual going on. And then we'll get rid of the opacity of the slice of pizza, so you don't see that anymore. But it'll still be there for collision purposes. So that's the path moving forward. Hopefully get that knocked out tomorrow. And if you joined me for this session, if you were following along, I appreciate it. And if you have any thoughts or suggestions, let me know in the comments, or if you're working on a game of your own and need any help or anything. As long as it's not rotating a slice of pizza along with a defense tower head, then I can probably help you out a little bit. But anyways, hope you have a good one. And until next time, I'll catch you later.